So it turned out the WNBA lied. The WNBA came out and talked about this deal that just wasn't a thing. Or the WNBA were actively lying, or maybe not actively lying. Maybe I'll use the word misleading. A slightly less harsh way of saying lying. But it says here, the reported 1.1 million figure represents a six-figure base salary of potential revenue sharing added on. And if you guys know anything about the WNBA, they have the system they have currently. They won't show them the numbers. They're like, oh, you only get revenue sharing extra if you hit certain revenue numbers. And then they refuse to show the numbers. So, I mean this, like, with them not showing the numbers to the players, yeah, duh. Obviously, the players aren't going to accept that. But it sounds like the salaries reach a maximum of 1.1 million the league's offer. The base supermax will still be between this, as is the case in October. The 1.1 million figure represents combined earnings from base salary and additional potential of revenue sharing. Under the league's offer, no player would sign a contract of 1.1 million. The league and the union did not comment. Under the current CBA, yada yada. It says here players have multiple different ways to get paid directly: base contracts, bonuses, player marketing agreements, and revenue sharing, which has never been triggered. Supermax salary was $259. As they've said here, a player could earn up to $700K annually, but that means you've won a championship, won the MVP, made all W first team, and also signed to their specific player marketing agreement, which by the looks of things, it seems like if you sign that, you can't get any other player marketing. It says here most players opted to not sign the PMA deals. The leagues they found limits other potential earning opportunities from their name, image, and likeness. And that's the thing. You probably, if you're Caitlin Clark, get $500,000. But like if you're, let's just say, I should even most irrelevant WNBA player, who's absolutely so irrelevant you probably don't even know they exist. That isn't a rookie. I would have said Kirsten Bell, but like you kind of do know that she exists. Lindsay Allen. Lindsay Allen might be the most, if she didn't play for the Sky, you would have no idea who she is. The most irrelevant WNBA player. She's probably making like $20K from the WNBA, which they can earn up to $250K. She's probably earning nothing, and it would stop any potential for other things. And the likelihood is that if you are going to get these player marketing agreements, you're not going to be allowed to play overseas, which is a decent chunk of her money. Current CBA includes a revenue sharing model that would pay the players a percentage of excess revenue the league earned after a specific target, be it in 2020. Revenue sharing would have been triggered had the league increased revenue by 20%. Any money earned above that 20% would be added to the revenue sharing bucket, and a percentage would be paid to players. I think we can all, and we're not talking about profit. This is not profit sharing, this is revenue. I think we can all agree that the WNBA, purely based on gate revenue and jersey sale revenue, increased by 20% between 2020 and Caitlin Clark's year. Caitlin Clark by herself would have sold enough merch and enough jerseys and brought in enough eyes. And by herself, the revenue would have increased by 20%. Even if you take away every other jersey sale and all 12 other teams. That's bullshit. I think there's no way. There is no way. It says here the player's share of revenue on their league's offer wouldn't be that significantly different than it is now. WNBA repeatedly point out it's offering uncapped model. The union has been seeking a system where it guaranteed a percentage of revenue. And yeah, so what it comes down to basically, it seems, is that the WNBA want to offer a potential revenue sharing, and they want it guaranteed. So they're like, oh yeah, we're not going to give you anything, but if you hit these revenue targets, that we're not going to show you the numbers. You can then get the money. So my guess is that I would not be surprised if the 1.1 million or thereabouts is probably the key number. Like that's probably the number when it comes to the salary that, like, these are probably the numbers that the players are looking for. The minimum contract, average, and maximum contract. Those numbers are probably in and around what the players are arguing for. The only thing is that the WNBA is like, well, these are what you could possibly reach. But we all know in the last CBA, they've said you could possibly reach 700K. But again, that means you need to win the Commissioner's Cup, the WNBA Championship, the MVP, and be all WNBA first team and be an All-Star and the All-Star MVP. Like, you need to do all of that. And you probably need to win the skills challenge as well and the 3-point contest test to make 700k. It is... The league are intentionally misleading. I do think the money-wise, they're closer to it. But now I'm like, I do think when it comes to some of the stuff with the players, I think the players have used social media a lot to try sway public opinion and haven't been completely honest here. But the league, not haven't been completely honest, the league are flat out lying. Because I think if the players were basically saying, this hasn't changed anything, to a 1.1 million, to 1.1 million, that's when the public are like, come on now, it's getting a bit ridiculous now. But 800k, and by the way, I don't even know if it's necessarily about the money. The 800k max salary is kind of crazy, and I don't know, is the best way to do this to just say, like, fuck the salary cap. Fuck the salary cap. Owners can pay whatever they want to whoever they want. Fuck the salary cap. And then suddenly whatever team, suddenly it's an arms race. What team offers Caitlin Clark $20 million a year? What team's willing to take, what team? Then we really get to see how much these players are worth. We really get to see how much these franchises are worth. Because one of the arguments now for the players is that they can't use the franchise values going up argument anymore because you can't sell the franchises. You literally, it is, the WNBA are vetoing it. You can't actually sell a franchise. The WNBA are blocking any sales of a franchise. Even for Connecticut. Unless they sell to Houston, they're not allowed to sell it. Even if they sell to somebody who still wants to play their games in the Mohegan Sun Tribe Arena, they're not allowed to do it because, you know, you have to get a relocation fee if you sell your team. So if you can't sell your team, someone just wants to buy your team. They have to move it for a relocation fee. It's madness. It's absolute madness. But yeah, it is a really interesting thing to see anyway, what's going on with this. Do I think there's going to be a season? Probably not. Probably not. Do I think there's going to be a WNBA again? Look, I always say this, I think it's 50-50 on there being a season. But if there's no season, the WNBA isn't going to exist again. If there's a season, it's fine. If there's no season, the WNBA is going to cease to exist. That is just the likely scenario because they don't magic up more money. They don't magic up a higher revenue split. Like, they can't just magic up this money. So the reality is that the players, the only way that the WNBA ends up existing, if there's a lockout this year, is if in 2027 the players are so fucked that they're willing to take. And by the way, this 800k deal is not going to be on the table. That they're willing to take a half and almost go back to what it was in the prior CBA. Like, it'll genuinely be something along those lines. Otherwise, the league might cease to exist. But yeah, and when it comes to leverage, the players have no leverage, and the WNBA owners don't have that much leverage either. Ironically, most of the leverage are outside investors. The outside investors have 50% of all the leverage. Oh, sorry, not have 50%, have 58% of the say, and they have all the leverage. And the problem is that there's so many different people that have that are involved in the league that it's going to be nearly impossible to get money out of people because there are people that are actively have votes that want to shut the league down. So anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys.